your word.
Well, I suppose you all wonder why I called you here together. We had too many questions about what happened this weekend, and as far as I was concerned, I was watching, and I sent out email to everybody saying, "Hey, we have a what is known as a dark moon, which is the third moon in a four moon cycle. We have a dark moon coming up here in Texas at about 1 a.m. And I told everybody, don't run out and look for it. It's dark. You can't see it. So it's just a name, like a blue moon. But then Vaughn and I got to talking about, well, wait a minute. If we're looking at that, then
Movie
what we're
mode.
looking at is also a conjunction. And then there's a new satellite in place. It's better, way better than SOHO. And I checked with it, and you could literally see the moon go between Earth and the sun, illuminated by the sun. And it was, coming in as dark. And then as it gets close to the sun, the sun illuminates the backside, but the Earth illuminates the front side. And I'm going, this is a conjunction. What's going on? Because in looking at the calendar, I thought, well, the conjunction starts on the 24th and runs to the 25th. But if we have a conjunction now, then we'll see the sliver probably on Sunday, which it was sighted in Israel on Sunday. And then, of course, I didn't get to see it in the evening because the cloud cover in the west was way too bad. So I thought, let's get Mark on if he can be on to help us figure out what happened, because I was caught off guard, quite frankly, and I don't mind admitting it. One thing I can really do is mess up, so I always admit to it because I'm so good at it. Okay, and anyway, no, my dad told me always take responsibility for what you say and what you do. What's up, Greg?
Cyrus, what's the name of that satellite you're monitoring?
Give me a second and I will tell you.
Okay.
It's a new one.
Pam and I were joking that Mark was probably thinking, oh, great, I have to go teach the kindergartners again.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
you're going to laugh whenever it's my turn to talk.
While Cyrus is looking for that, I'll just say this. Wednesday morning, the 20th at about 5:15 our time, I looked out and I saw a waning sliver, very, very small. I don't see how it could have lasted until the morning of the 25th or 24th. And then the cloud cover was too much on Friday, Thursday, and Friday. I could not have seen anything. And Shabbat morning, I was up at 5:15 and couldn't see anything. Walked all around, got on the other side of the tree to make sure I was in the clear. And I did the Skyview Light app on my phone finally, and it showed the sun above the horizon and the moon dark beneath it with a little sliver on the top of the moon illuminated. But I'm thinking, unless because it's closer, the moon would have popped up above the sun was coming up first. There's no way we would have seen the waxing sliver of the moon Shabbat morning. So and last month, something similar. I did not see, I saw the last sliver a day before we had it on the calendar. And Mark, I'm not complaining about the calendar. I totally appreciate that you put time in here.
Yeah.
Gave us a guide. I'm just saying I was looking and it it seemed to be the conjunction one day before it was on the calendar, which meant this month we would not have had the conjunction on the 28th day, but on the 29th day.
Yeah.
Because it would have been,
So we're
sorry.
gonna walk through it, and hopefully if you have one of these, you can get it in front of you. But I'm gonna start off by saying it's a good thing that the 40 days of repentance have just started, because I'm going to confess to you that I'm the one that made an error. And I think I told you guys back when we were talking about this that I have made an error or two since 2009 doing this. So when Cyrus sent me his email, I'm going, what's he talking about? And so I pulled up my program looking, and I'm like, oh no, it's one of those Mark makes an error moments. So if you will allow me, we're going to walk through from August through December and look at each one of the from the new moon to the 15th, and including through the feast dates. And that way you can all be comfortable in knowing that, all right, Mark made a boo-boo on August. And I was real scared when Summer said I had made an error on what was it, a month ago or 2 months ago?
It was
And
in the spring.
yeah, I should have looked further. Maybe I would have caught this one. But anyway, so
Okay.
it's one of those, human errors. And I was back last year when I was putting this together, there was an update on my program. And I think that during that update might have been when this happened. So again, with all the things that are involved. And what I'd like to do, if you guys are okay, I usually put the calendar together in November. We could have a meeting together and walk through the whole thing for the year for next year, and we can all see. And you can be double checking my work and saying, "Oh, wait a minute, no, are you sure about that?" And we can kind of just, have many eyes on the same thing. Yes, Pamela.
Well,
Good.
Mark, I for one want to say that I'm really glad you got it wrong. And the reason is because it is challenging each of us to do our due diligence. That's what you told us in the spring is, hey, sometimes I get it wrong or something happens or there's an error and you guys are still responsible for your own checking. And so Pam and I sat on the computer with her app and my Stellarium, and I'm scrolling with the moon in check forward by hours and minutes and back and checking illumination, percentages. And we just spent all this time on it the other day. And it really challenged us to make sure like we're looking for what we're supposed to be looking for. And so I'm glad there was an error. It was obviously was there for a reason.
And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I mean, how could I mean, this is like a whole day. I mean, this is like a no-brainer. How did I? And my wife reminded me about the program update last fall, and when I was doing this, and I'm sure that's when it happened, what happened, but yeah,
But we don't want to be complacent. So
yeah.
it's a good thing.
Zara,
Hi, Mark. It's so nice to
hello.
see you.
Good to see you.
I just really quickly, before you get into all the details, I realize we're such a small group, but we have Greg and Bonnie with us who may not have had a chance to meet you yet.
Okay.
So I just wondered if we could maybe do your incredible expertise and all the amazing things that you have shown to us in Arca Hall.
Okay. So I began in 2000. My name is Mark Webb, and I lead a congregation here in the Phoenix area. We have about, depending on the Shabbat, anywhere from 75 to 100 that gather each Shabbat. And one day, back in 2009, one of our congregants looked at me and said, when we were celebrating the sliver at the time. And he said, when Yeshua arrives, all the other people that observe these other calendars, they're all going to have to repent and start doing it the way we're doing it. And I thought to myself, I said, what if we're all wrong? As soon as those words came out of my mouth, things started coming into my head that I had never even heard before. And one of them was equinox, the word equinox. I didn't even know what it was. I had never heard it. I had to, I'm glad I remembered what it was. I had to go and check it out and look it up and Google it, find out what in the world is an equinox. And lo and behold, I found out that there were probably 15 here in the around Arizona that are built into the landscapes by the First Nations who came. So all the other things I began to write down and try to figure out that had come into my mind through came to realize the Spirit was showing me something because I was willing to be humble and say I could be wrong at anything. And so as I began to research these things out, I one by one started realizing that the sliver that I was observing was not accurate. I began to realize that the barley was an inaccurate way of measuring. And then the Father began to show me through the Spirit some of the things that have led to what we're doing now, especially since Genesis 1:14 says, the sun, the moon, and the stars, they alone have the authority to determine the moeds. I thought, okay, well, that eliminates the barley. That would be reason why the 7-year famine and 20-year famines, there's no barley. You can't be using something that fails. And then the sliver, I began to realize that the sliver can't work because when you count 15 days from a sliver, you're never at a true full moon. You're always 1 or 2 days past the true full moon. And we're going to show that here in a minute because September the 7th is a red blood moon, and we're going to get to look at that. It's going to be a great opportunity to see how the count will land on the real red blood moon, true full moon, which is the 15th of the month, as declared by Josephus in his writings. So along with those, plus some of the things, believe it or not, in the rabbinic writings, in the Mishnah and the Talmud, helped me realize Gamliel had made a statement in the first century that they were taking witnesses for the new moon up until noontime. And I thought, noontime? And this is when we're just still mindset in the sliver, in the West. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, if you're declaring Rosh Chodesh at 6 p.m. and they're not declaring it until the next day at noon, in 4 hours it's over. That doesn't even make sense. And and I was stumped by scriptures like David and Jonathan out talking at noontime that tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. And I thought, how are they knowing tomorrow is going to be Rosh Chodesh when nobody knows for sure when the sliver is going to be seen, right? And then, of course, as I began to realize it was something they were seeing in the morning, not something they were seeing in the evening. And then I had seen that the eastern wall of the temple was 3 feet shorter than all the other walls in the temple or around the courtyard. So why was that wall shorter? So it all kind of started making sense, and God pieced it all together for me because he's patient and I was willing to be patient. And then the final kicker was finding and seeing where the moon was on the feast dates. And that was like, there is no way that can be coincidental. So calculating it from a conjunction, only from a conjunction, doesn't work any other calendar, as at least the ones I know of that I've looked at. The moon will be in the barley, which there's only one barley in all of the heavens. The moon will be in the barley on Passover night. So whenever the whole feast is about barley, you're looking up and the moon is in the barley in the woman's hand. Calculating the same way on Yom Kippur, there's only one goat in the heavens, and we're going to see it in a minute because we're going to look at it. But on the 10th day of the 7th month, the moon will be in the goat as they're slaughtering the goat on Yom Kippur. So, for there to be a goat up there and the moon to be in the goat as they're slaughtering the goat, and only one barley and the moon being the barley, reckoning the same way. I don't know the odds, but I'm sure it's pretty high. So that was probably the final uh, kicker for me in realizing, okay, well, God has put me on here, this path. He's showing me this is the way to reckon it. And then I presented it to our assembly and the rest of the leadership team, and they looked at it and examined it, and they said, "We feel that you're right. We think we should switch over." And I said, "Okay, well, let's present it to the congregation, and we'll go from there." So, yeah. And it's one of those things. I'm not one of those people that try to get it out to the whole masses of the world. We just pretty much did it quietly on our own. And if somebody came to celebrate Sukkot with us, which we would always do a 10 to 12 day Sukkot so we could accommodate other people's calendar observations, because we didn't want to, make it look like we were high and mighty, that we had came to the only conclusion. We wanted people to come and celebrate no matter what calendar they were on. And we usually would never bring it up unless someone addressed it or asked, "Why are you doing it this way?" Because we just didn't want to do that. And so anyway, um, Cyrus's group asked questions one day as we were just talking about the heavens, and started sharing, and so that's where we're at. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Mark. Every time I hear you tell that story, it makes more and more sense. So I appreciate it.
We're doing the best we can to promote you anyway, just to let you know. You don't have to promote yourself. We're doing it for you. I wrote to the guys at All Fellowship just to see if they'd bite. So we're working on it.
Your ear must have been ringing, just before you came on. Pamela asked me if we were going to have a good Sukkot, and I said, "I don't know. I'm hoping Stephen and Zara show up for Sukkot. We'll see."
Oh man, was that supposed to be invoke some guilt on our part? Because I'm feeling guilty now. We'll be there.
No
We'll be there.
pressure.
Just give us a little bit
No
more time.
pressure. No pressure. All right. So can I share? Have I got sharing privileges?
I'll set that up for you in 1 second. Summer put a note in the chat asking us not to get into the good stuff too fast. She had to run out and get the chicken feed.
Oh, okay.
She should be back in just a moment. And I want to point out one other thing. When Mark was walking us through all of this initially, it all sounded good. I was just a little bit hesitant because of all my years citing the first sliver in the evening, until he pointed out that for not just the first Passover, but the second Passover, the moon is in the barley.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that's not coincidence.
Yeah, and I also failed to mention that in 2009, my wife and I had been motivated by the Almighty to. I had a great job, so it wasn't because of lack of income, but the Father just impressed upon me to take 7 of my 8 children and to move into a 21-foot travel trailer, and put everything in storage, get out of our home, and start living in the trailer for the next 7 months. And my wife agreed, and so we moved in the trailer. And as we were in the winter deserts of Arizona, spending a lot of our time outdoors, we were looking at the heavens. And all of this really started happening as a result of a lot of time being spent outdoors looking up and observing the revolutions and how things were moving. This is at the time that God was showing me all about how this calendar was working, and I had great views here, because you can see as far as you can imagine, east and west and north and south in Arizona, because there's no tree obstructions, and so you can see the sun go all the way to the ground, and the moon as well. So it made it a really great opportunity to watch. This is how I saw that the sun and the moon on the true full moon are on the horizon together, exactly on the horizon together in opposition, one night and one morning. And that's the true full moon if you're watching by eye. And it only happens one night and one morning in a whole 30-day cycle. So it's really cool. Bonnie, you've got your hand up, so go ahead.
Yes, we spent a over 30 years in the Phoenix area.
Oh,
Tempe, Scottsdale, Phoenix, then Mesa, then Gilbert, kept trying to move further and further out. You understand that?
yeah, I understand that. We were, the time in my trailer was out at, Usury Park. I'm sure you know where that's at.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I do, very well.
Elevated
Um,
and good view.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
we eventually moved up to Paulden,
Oh,
north of Prescott.
okay.
And then our daughter got out of the Mesa area, took a job here in Texas, and we followed along with the grandkids.
Okay.
But so I find that obviously very interesting, and I understand, being able to see the skies and observe them in the Phoenix area. There's just nothing like it when you get a little further out of the city. It's
Yeah.
pretty incredible. So
Yeah, it is.
I'm very interested to hear about all of this.
Yeah, our assembly is in downtown Mesa, so that's where our congregation's
Okay.
at.
I know it well.
Yeah. Stephen and Zara, you guys have a question or a comment?
Well, we were waiting for Summer to come back, so I was
We're gonna help with the
I
stalling.
was going to kill time for just one more second to say,
Okay.
Mark, you've been very much in our thoughts because we're still on our house hunt. We're in far west Texas now, so we're getting closer to you because we're
Oh.
almost on the border with New Mexico. But we're going to see a property on Wednesday, and
Oh.
one of the big selling points of this property is it's four separate buildings that are oriented kind of in a like a cross kind of a shape. But the
Oh.
way they've situated the buildings on the equinox, you can watch the sun and the moon rise directly
Uh,
between these buildings. And it just feels like
oh,
there's
wow.
no such thing as a coincidence. Like that
Wow.
is meaningful. So
Wow, that's
fingers
awesome.
crossed, pray for us. Maybe this is the
that's-
right.
That is awesome.
Dakota at Stefan and Zara's next year.
Absolutely. It's 9 acres too, so we got plenty of room if it works out.
Absolutely.
Let's
Yeah,
Absolutely.
praise God.
one of these days, I'm going to build an equatorial dial on our property down in Bisbee. So hopefully that'll
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're done killing time, but I just wanted to say it looks like Cyrus might be frozen. So maybe we want to check in with him before we get started.
It looks like he's saluting you.
He
Aye,
seems to be in
Captain.
this position.
All right. Looks like we're good. Okay. So I'm going to share. I'm going to pull up my, it's turned,
Oh.
share is not turned on.
Yeah, you have to, there you go. You have to do that.
Okay. All right. That does it. So everyone can see that?
Yes.
Okay. So the moon is
Mark,
in
Mark,
this.
I don't mean to interrupt, but can you announce the date that you're looking at? Because I've got my software up also, and I was going to follow through with you.
It's up in the top left corner.
Okay.
I'm going to put it to August, and we're going to go to the 22nd of August. All right. And so that's Mercury, and here's the moon. So the moon is right here under the jaw of the lion. You can't see it because it's pretty much darkened out, but I'm going to keep my cursor on it, and I have it set so that the moon stays centered in the screen so that when I change the day, it stays centered. And so you can see that the morning of the 22nd of August, which is Friday morning, it's 28.86. And I need to set my time over here. I'm setting my time to 4:52, which is basically 5 a.m. in the morning. Everyone see that in the top left corner up here? Can you guys see the date up here?
Yes.
Okay. So it's set at basically 5 o'clock in the morning, which is just before sunrise. As a matter of fact, if I was to put the horizon here, you can see that the the moon is not quite up yet. And if I was just to advance this a little bit more, there comes the moon, or less Mercury, sorry. by 50. Oh, there it is. So here's the moon right here, just above the horizon. And the reason, just so you guys know, in the morning at such an early time, you have to observe the moon before the sun comes above the horizon, or it's the light is going to obliterate it. And so, which is the same way you had to wait when you're looking in the west for the sun to set so that the light of the sun wouldn't obscure the moon. So I'm going to hide the horizon so that we can see things a bit better. So here we are, the 22nd of August, and it's 28. Can you guys see 28.8 days old? Right in the center of the screen. Right here where my cursor is.
It
says
might be
20
too small for us to read, Mark.
You can't see it? Okay, I don't know how to get that bigger.
Well, I think the shiny, whatever's shining is in the way of the letters too.
Okay, let's see. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's out on the edge of there you go. Just move it a little bit more if you can to the right so everybody can see it a little better.
To the right? Okay.
There, yeah, that's visible. 28.82 days old.
Oh, I
28
see it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay,
Second,
see
the
that?
second line.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Second line, 28.82 days old. So you're gonna have to take if you guys still can't see it, hopefully you can see it now. Yeah, 28 point crescent moon, waning crescent moon, 28.83 days. Okay, so I'm gonna back it back down because I need to make sure that is centered, so it won't move when I'm changing the day. So I'm going to keep my cursor on it. So this is the morning of August the 22nd, which was Friday morning. We're going to move now to August the 23rd, which was past Shabbat morning. And now it says it's 0.29 days old. Now, according to the way that I've been reckoning the calendar, this is for sure the morning you wouldn't see it. And so then we declare Rosh Chodesh. We would be declaring Rosh Chodesh, should have declared Rosh Chodesh that evening on Saturday night, right? And so that means that we would have had, this would have been day one here on the 24th. So yesterday would have been day one, and day two, day three, day four, day 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now, everybody can see the moon, yes? Everyone see the moon? Can you see the moon now? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. This is September the 7th. I just counted 15 days. You were with me, right? You saw me count 15 days? Okay. So this is 6 a.m. We're going to advance the hours on September 7th to 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. On the 15th day, it is a red blood moon, showing you that our count, based on what we saw, how many days old the moon was in the morning, we are now at the 15th day, which is a red blood moon. And this is how astronomically you can see you're counting the right day, because it is a red blood moon and it's nailing it. The red blood moon is nailing it. That is the true full moon. Everybody with me? Everybody getting that?
Yes, got it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to back out.
Question?
You'll probably see that the red blood moon is in the stream of Aquarius, the water being poured out. The red blood moon is right there in the stream. Yes, Greg.
So just to back up, I'm following you, but the conjunction on the 23rd, you declare, so the counting actually starts on the 24th as day one? or are you talking the evening of the conjunction? I'm trying to get the,
Yeah, we're gonna back up. So we're gonna go
Okay.
back up to,
I want to make sure I got the counting down.
so this was the morning of August 22nd, and
Yep.
it was 28 days old. Now this is the morning of the 23rd. Now, a lot of people would say, well, Mark, wouldn't this be the day you don't see it? Well, I can't count on that. And back in the first century and 1400 BC, they had a whole lot of less pollution in the sky, and they probably would have had a lot better ability at visualizing crescents than we can today, because they would have had better ability to observe the horizon, observe real small, fine slivers in the detail. So because the software is telling me it's 28.99 days, it's telling me that at this morning, and of course I've got it advanced to 10 a.m., it's telling me that there's a chance you could see it this morning. So I don't want to, and if we were going by visual and we could wait till each month, we could do that. But because we're trying to put together a calendar in advance for people to take time off, we're going to go by the best way possible. And I like it because if I was to say this morning, I don't see it, and I was to declare this day, the 23rd, the first day, now that's day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm not at the red blood moon. So I'm not at the true 15th day of the month. Only by going, we'll back it back up again, only by going by when it says that you are now into, on the morning, we got to go by in the morning, not in the evening, in the morning at 5 a.m., when it says I'm now into the new moon, I can say, okay, now for sure I didn't see it. And so the next day is day 1, day 2, day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, red blood moon. Everybody with me?
Yep.
Summer, go ahead.
Oh, Pam's was up first.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand, Pam.
No problem. I'll just knock 25 cents off your pay. Okay. Just wanting to make sure, when you're saying September 7th, you mean sunset on the 6th through the day of the 7th, correct?
Sunset on the,
Or
well,
sunset on the 7th going into the 8th?
yeah, so this is the sunset on the 6th going into, let's see here. It would have this is the day of, which would have began the previous evening.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Summer.
So what I was gonna say, the red blood moon is not every month though, right?
No.
So this
And that's
doesn't
why-
work every month.
Right. And this is why this is working out really good for us. When I was previewing earlier, and I said, well, this is going to be great. They're going to love it to have this red blood moon come up, to show that the way we calculated it or should have calculated, the way you guys saw it, is the right way to do it. Even though, like Cyrus was saying, on the 22nd, you probably wouldn't have seen or may not have seen it. And that's maybe true in our polluted atmosphere now. Maybe there's places that wouldn't have seen it on the 22nd. But if we go by what we're being shown astronomically here, we're going to end up with the right counting. And you're going to see next month, we're going to also end up with the moon being in the right spot in the heavens, lining up with the feast date.
Okay, so do you not, obviously, I know you're using several factors to determine this, the red blood moon, the number of days old. I guess I had spaced that we talked about those before, because I was just going based on the illumination. And then I was scrolling through the hours to see, okay, well, what point during this day, where was it at when it was on the horizon that morning? Would it possibly be visible at that percentage point? If not, where's it at on the horizon the following morning? That's like how I was trying to reckon it when we were trying to figure it out.
You might remember me saying that there was a time back in the beginning where had made an error. And I remember I told you there was a website called Paul Carlisle Moon Calendar, and his calendar shows how many percent illumination the moon is each day. And so I was using that, and by using when it went below 1% in the waning phase, I was like, okay, well, I won't see it that morning. But yet I was led in error even by going by that 1 month. So I realized that I can't always depend on what some softwares are telling me on what it's predicting the illumination would be.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And the other thing, and I think I may have also told you that I will go in advance, especially on feast dates, and I'm going to look and see where the moon is on what I'm seeing from the conjunction point. Is the moon ending up in the barley, or is the moon ending up in the goat? But I'll also look at, like this month, if there's a red blood moon, or if I know for certain what day the true full moon is by looking at places where I can see where the sun and the moon are on the horizon together, then I can back up the 15 days like I'm doing here, and I can see, okay, well, this is telling me, we've got a warning for Haboob coming in.
Oh, fun.
Get all the troops in.
Yeah,
So,
big dust
Mark,
storm, big dust storm coming. Yes.
yeah, Mark, so back this up in a historical context, as
Yes.
if I'm the witness and I have to make a trip to the temple. Back me up again, 22nd, 23rd. This is almost exactly trying to determine the first month. It's that important. Is
Yes.
getting the start for the count is extremely important. That's exactly what the mission and everything says.
Yeah.
So if I'm a witness, step me through the 22nd, 23rd, 24th again, as if I was going to go to the temple, to the court, and if you can do that for me.
Yes. So here we are on the 22nd, and the moon is under the jaw of the lion. Says it's 29 days old. And I'm out looking for the sliver. And I'm pretty certain in 900 BCE, I would have seen a sliver this morning. I'm pretty certain of it. And so I would have seen a sliver. And I know that I can't declare Rosh Chodesh the evening of the 22nd. So then we advance it to the next morning at 5 a.m. My computer's telling me it's now 0.47 days old instead of 29. So it's telling me that now I am into the next month, and I would not have seen a sliver this morning at 5 a.m. So that would have told me, and this is what I think Jonathan and David observed, they would have seen there was no sliver, which they could have, with certainty at noontime, they could have said tomorrow, tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, because they knew that they didn't see the sliver. They knew that they had just passed the conjunction. I think Gamliel was waiting for witnesses to tell them, we saw, waiting until noon, that they had seen that they had not seen the sliver that morning. And then now that he could say, okay, we'll stop, we will stop taking witnesses at noon. And at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we're going to declare Rosh Chodesh. This will begin day 1 of the month. The other thing that's important is, as the eastern wall is 3 feet shorter than the north, south, and west wall, the priests would have been looking towards the Mount of Olives as that morning at 5 a.m., and they would have been observing the moon coming up. This would have been above the eastern gate, above the bridge going out to the Mount of Olives, and it would have been like a field goal on NFL. Here's the bridge, and the moon setting here above the bridge, above the mountain, and it's nailing there's no moon there and it's supposed to be there, that means we're going to begin Rosh Chodesh tonight. Or they saw one and they go, well, it's not going to be tonight. We'll come look again in the morning. This is why I think the scripture says, if you look in the scriptures, you type in the word watchman, there's never a scripture about a watchman in the evening, but there is scripture for watchmen in the morning. And so why are the scriptures telling us that there's watchmen in the morning? And I would submit to you that they're watching for this witness on a monthly basis.
So as, like I say, as a witness, I've seen the waning crescent in the morning. The next day, I don't see anything, backed up with the temple not seeing anything, along with, I'm pretty sure, calculations. Even Moshe probably did calculations when they were wandering.
Yeah.
But then with that, knowing that I saw the waning crescent and knowing the cycle of the dark conjunction, then I know that that it's constantly moving, and it's going to pick up that light, and it's going to be Rosh Chodesh. So I'm gonna hightail it, like I say, before noon on let's say it was this month, the 23rd, and I'm gonna go in and get interrogated by the Sanhedrin. They're gonna tell me everything, and then they will declare that evening will begin. The evening of the 23rd would have been the start of Rosh Chodesh, correct?
Yeah. Yes. And you know what makes sense to me is if it was going by a evening sighting for the waxing or the waxing sliver, and they've got to have witnesses. So at what point do you cut off the witnesses? So you'd be well into the day before you can actually gather all the witnesses and make a declaration. But here, by seeing it in the morning, since the day begins at evening at sunset, this gives all the witnesses plenty of time to make it down to Jerusalem, to come in, which is why the Mishnah and Talmud says that they're waiting until noon so that they can now determine, examine, get everything done, and be certain, and then make the declaration 4 hours, 5 hours later for sunset to declare Rosh Chodesh and do what they need to be done. Yeah.
So along with that, in Bamidbar or Numbers, the sacrifices then are going to commence on the 24th, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, the bowl and everything else for the Rosh Chodesh, all that's going to start on the next morning.
Correct. Yes.
After the daily sacrifices, yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep. Summer.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure this out because I have a horrible viewing area. I live in a forest and a mountain. So we're on the 22nd this month. I'm just going to use this month as the example. The morning of the 22nd, were we able to see the moon?
I think you would have seen it. As I had mentioned back in the day, what we would have needed binoculars to see today, they probably would have been able to see naked eye.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I was just thinking, because I know it's the program, but according to the program, it was at 1% around 6 a.m. It didn't reach 0% illumination until about 9:15 a.m., which the sun would have already been up at that time. But I thought, well, 1% is awfully small to be able to sight it. So if it wasn't visible on the 22nd and it wasn't visible on the 23rd, which day do you use to declare with? Does
It
that
has
ever
to-
happen?
It has to be before that sunrise. So it has to be before, for sure, before 6 a.m. So if it goes into 0 point whatever after 6 a.m., you can't declare that and not seen. So if it's 1% at 4:30, you've got to declare that's going to be seen. And I've seen I've seen the sliver at 1%.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So there it's not likely that you're going to have 2 days in a row that you cannot see it.
Well, it is possible, but we're going by the first day that you don't see it. That's what we're going
The
to go
first
by.
day. Okay,
Whether or
that's what I
not there's
wanted to
one or two, we're going to go by the first day.
So if you don't see it again the following morning, that morning is not the indicator.
Right. And
Okay.
we'll do another little example here just for fun. We're going to advance this back to the 15th. The red blood moon. We're going to pull up, let's see here. See if there's other options.
I'm going to point out while Mark is looking that the significance of the red blood moon being in the water that's being poured out, because that's a ritual that takes place at this month. So it's kind of an indicator like Passover and the goat on Yom Kippur. It's just another spot on target.
Yeah,
What
it
is the
is
ritual?
It's called the water ablation ceremony.
a water pouring out ceremony. Yeah.
I was gonna add, Mark, for Summer's comment on not seeing the moon for 2 days. We can't forget, if we're really watching the calendar, that we're also counting from the previous month. So we're counting those days so we know we're not going to go beyond 30, et cetera, on the cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be over here in the north, the east, and we're at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Oh, September 7th. Let's see here. What am I looking for? Did you have something you want to say?
To south, that's the Haboob. She said it's a giant.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's this big, I don't know how many of you know what a haboob is, but it's this, like you would see in the Middle East, this big, huge, 1,000-foot high wall of sand rolling into the valley. It's just about to hit us now. You can see it way up in the air from my window. It's crazy. They're always so amazing to see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you wake up with dust and sand in your refrigerator and freezer?
It has, well,
It gets everywhere.
my outdoor one, I might.
And if it rains, then it rains mud.
Yes. Okay, I'm trying to get this where you can see something here, so hopefully I can make it happen. Let's see here, view horizon. This should be, is the 7th. And that's the 6th. Okay, can you guys see what's happening here? So we're at about 5:30 in the evening, right? On the 7th. You see the time up here? Everybody see that? Up here it says September 7th, 2025, 5:50 p.m. Right?
Yes.
Everybody can see that? Here, let me make it easier for you. You see that up here? No?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So do y'all see that the horizon is here and the line is descending into the horizon? And the sun is here in the tail and the hind legs?
Yes.
Okay. So let's look in that's in the west, by the way. And so now we're going to look over here in the east. We're going to see. Well, let me do this. This will be easier. Take the horizon out of the way and put the horizon line in. Okay. We're out of it. So we're going to go back to the 6th. Okay, do you see the moon?
Yes.
Okay. This white line that's going across the screen is the horizon. Okay. We're going to go back over here to, I know I'm taking some time here with this. Okay, do you see the sun is right close to the horizon?
Yes.
And Mercury is now descending into the horizon.
Mhm.
And the moon is on the white, or the sun is on the white line? Yes? Okay.
Uh-huh.
This is the evening when the 15th is beginning. It's September the 6th at 6 p.m. So the 15th is beginning. Remember I said that the sun and the moon will be on the horizon one night and one morning on a true full moon? So here's the sun on the horizon the evening of the 6th. And there's the moon on the horizon the evening of the 6th. Everybody see that?
Whoa.
We can't see
Yes.
the moon.
It's right here.
Is it just our screen? There we go.
Got it. Yes. There's the moon right there.
Yep.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's right at the horizon. So again, you see both of them. Now let's just double check. We should see this same thing happen the next morning of the 15th. So let's just check. Let's just see how nature works this out. So now it's 7 p.m., 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here comes the sun. And there's the sun. We'll back it up a little bit here. All right, the sun has just popped up. And let's go over here into the, and the moon has just gone below. So, whoop. Moon has just gone below. So let's just see if, yeah, so it would have been the evening, and here we're just a tad off, but usually you're going to see both of them really close on the horizon, the true morning, evening and the true morning.
But I bet you can still see the sun rays, even
Yeah.
if you were to continue to back it up until the moon was closer to the horizon line. I bet the sun would still be illuminating the horizon.
So we'll put it here. Let's look here and see what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll see that you'll see in the east here that the sun is popping up, and you'll be able to see in the, because this will be twilight. This will be
Right.
at that dawn time, and you'll see the moon is descending. So yes, you'll see that. Anyway, I wanted you guys to see that this is one of the witnesses that God showed me, other than a red blood moon, that you're at a true full moon. Because if you're looking at astronomically or in some of these programs, it'll say 99.9 one night, one day 99.9 the other, and you're like, okay, which one's the real full moon? Because they're both telling you 99. Which is it? And but this is the way to know if you don't have a red blood moon happening.
And this happens every month?
The sun and the moon on the horizon every month on the
Okay.
true 15th. Yes, every month.
Oh, that's cool.
And so,
On the 15th of the month in the Hebrew calendar, every month?
yes. Yeah, the
Love it.
15th of the month of the Hebrew, going from the conjunction, the sun and the moon will be on the horizon one night and one morning every month.
And that's why what you said
Brother Mark, when they were walking out with light the whole time. That's right.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Thank you for pointing that out. I mean, what a beautiful thing to have great light when you're going out, right?
Exactly.
Right. And so we're going to move now from the 7th, from the full moon. Let me move it back over here to the full moon. We're going to center this guy. I don't know if you were here, Sonia, when we showed the red blood moon, but I'll advance it here for you so you can see it. So
No, sorry, I wasn't. I only just came on not long ago.
So it's now 6:40 in the AM, and see the red blood moon coming. You see the red now on the moon?
Oh, wow. That looks amazing. Yeah, I was initially looking at Jupiter thinking, that doesn't look very red.
Everybody can see that, I bet.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
And look, it says 15.5 days old. Imagine that. 15 and a half days old. Okay. So now we're on the 7th of September. We're going to walk through now the 7th of September, the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21. I'll actually go back to the 20th. And I need to back up to 5 a.m. Okay, so the moon is telling me it's 28.26 days old on the 20th of September. If you've got your calendar, you'll be able to see that. So on the 20th of September, it's telling me that it's 28 days old. I'm going to now advance it to the next day, to the 21st. And it tells me that it's 29.26 days old on the 21st. And I'm going to advance it to the 22nd. And now we're the morning of the 22nd, and it says it's 0.68 days old. That's the morning you won't see it, which is the morning of the 22nd. And that's why you see on our calendar that evening starts Rosh Chodesh, because the witnesses would have said, we don't see it this morning. We begin the Rosh Chodesh. But we've got to verify this, right? Let's go now and let's advance our calendar to the 10th day of the 7th month. Here's day 1. I'm sorry. Here's day 1 on the 23rd. And I've got my thing on the moon here. Look at where the moon is on day 1 of the 7th month. Oh, it's in the barley. That could be another really interesting sign, Sonia, is the moon in the barley on the beginning of the 7th month. So here is the day of. So this is the 23rd, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Oh my goodness, it's in the goat. You guys can see the moon here?
Yeah.
Let me zoom in for you. You
Oh,
see the
okay.
moon now?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the moon, and we're zooming out, and it's in the goat. All right, everybody get that? Watch this. Is it in the goat the day before? No, it's in the tail of Sagittarius.
Oops.
Is it in the goat the day after? Somewhat, but if you pulled up the boundaries, it might be out. It might have already entered into Aquarius. But we know for certain on this day, when they're slaughtering the goat, the moon is in the goat on the 10th day of the 7th month. So now we can be sure that what we declared back here as we went through the conjunction, that we were on our right counting. All right? Everybody with me?
And just to double check, that agrees with what you have in the printed calendar.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, it agrees with the printed calendar. And then, so we're going to advance to the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. So the evening of the 14th, when Sukkot is beginning on October the 6th, the moon is in the fish of Ephraim. But look at Saturn. Saturn is in Ephraim. Remember I told you how Saturn was always declared the Jews? And you remember we talked about how Saturn, sometimes the way it tilts, you can see the rings, but sometimes you can't. It is tilted to where you almost cannot see the rings on this day as Sukkot is beginning, of the evening. So the moon is in the fish. Then on the day of the 14th, October the 7th, or the 15th, it is in between the two bands, right? So we know that our counting is correct because the moon's always going to be in the fish on that day. And so we're going to go the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st. We're in the twins. And then the last day of Sukkot, imagine that, it's in the sheepfold. It's in the sheep pen. On the great day, it's on the sheepfold. And Jupiter's up here just in front of it, which is a very interesting thing. So very, very cool thing. Actually, if we were to advance this, that's the morning of the 14th.
Brother Mark, I have a quick question.
Yes.
When you had, I think it was the moon in the, oh gosh, it was just before when you had, and the Saturn was there as well at the same time with the rings. Isn't Saturn representative of Israel or Judah or something?
Jews. Yes, the Jews.
Jews. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all that was at the same time. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and as I looked at this, what's very interesting about this, you can back it out and see that there's some very interesting things happening. Number one, you've got the Jupiter over here that's in the twins. You've got sorry about that. You've got Venus over here in between Leo and the Virgin. You've got Mercury here just below the barley, and you've got Mars here at the tip, the feet of the woman at the tip of the scales. So it's very, very interesting as that end of, that's this year for Sukkot, which everybody's been talking about September and October. Very, very interesting. And I wanted to remind you guys that it had been mentioned years ago that next year, it's a possibility that we may see Apophis with the naked eye. So keep that in mind. It would be really amazing if we saw it during the fall feast. And also that other comet that we were talking about, the interstellar comet, will be moving through here through Virgo during this time of Sukkot with three other comets. So very interesting time.
Can you remind me what the significance of Apophis is?
So Apophis is the asteroid that they had declared was going to strike the Earth. And it's got of course, the name of the Cyrus, you'll have to help me because I always forget the name of it's the god of destruction and chaos.
Destruction
right?
of Egypt. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm,
And
okay.
yeah. And so it's a very evil surrounding the name. And so and then that it's supposed to come close by the Earth, strike the Earth in April the 13th of 2029.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So here we are on the October the 6th. Now we're going to move to the, oh, let me center this guy again. I moved it. The 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. Okay, so we're on the 20th of October. Everybody got your calendar? We're at 5:27 a.m. The program is telling me that the moon is 28.69 days old on the 20th of October. Now go to the 21st. It says it is 0, 0. Now here's what's interesting. So I had it set at 5 a.m. So let me back it up at 5 a.m. So at 5 a.m., it tells me it's 29.51 days old. But see, this is a very interesting month because if I advance that 30 more minutes, it says it's 0. But I can't go by that because at 5:30, it may be too light to see anything. I have to go by a time of the morning that it'll be dark enough to be able to see something. Everybody with me? Because we got to stay the same standard that we've been using.
Yeah.
So I can't use that. So I now go to the next morning, which is the 22nd, and it tells me that I lost it. There it is. It's 0.9 days old. And so that evening we declare Rosh Chodesh. So we got the 23rd is day 1, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. Hold on. First of November, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. It's 27.9. Next day, the 19th, it's 28.9. Now this is what I like about this program. Now on the morning of the 20th, it says it's 0.22 days. Previous morning, it's 28.8. But the morning of the 20th, it's 0.2. We don't see it that morning. So that evening we declare Rosh Chodesh. And you can see that Mercury is doing a cross over the sun, a flyby over the sun here. And so we declare now November the 21st is day 1. Day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The 15th of the ninth month
Yep.
is now December the 5th. Now it's in the horns of the bull. And so December 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. Now, what's interesting about this is on the calendar, what begins the evening of the 14th?
Hanukkah.
Look where the moon is.
In the barley. Oh dear.
Pretty crazy, huh? Go ahead, Greg.
Wow.
You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. So Mark, so like you say, the way we're doing this counting, the conjunction, we declare Rosh Chodesh that evening, knowing that the moon's going to go there. But according to everything in the Mishnah and everything that everybody's written, the witnesses have to go and get interrogated and then tell you which way the horns are pointed and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So how does that fit in to the recipe?
So, well, I think they were telling that they were telling, because they took witnesses on the very last day the sliver was seen as well. So when the people witnessed on the very last, because the last day is as important as the nose visual, the nose see. So when the people were coming saying, "Hey, we saw the last day of the moon," he's asking which direction was the horns pointed. But
Okay,
when
I got it.
they're coming and telling him we didn't see it today, this is the witness that the month has begun.
I guess so. We're actually talking about the waning crescent versus the waxing crescent as far as being a witness.
Yes. Yeah. So you've got now two witnesses. I can see that the last day, that this is the last day I see it, and they're going to know because you're going to be just like on the waxing. You can tell how tiny that sliver is and how close to the horizon it is. You remember, what was it? 3 fingers? What was it? Three or 4 fingers from the horizon, you could tell. And you're going to see the same thing in the east in the morning on the waning sliver. And so people got good at knowing, okay, well, this is definitely going to be the last day I'm going to see it, because of the distance from the horizon.
Right.
And, when I was watching it for, back in 2009 and 10 and 11, I was watching it every month, every morning. I got to where I knew that was going to be the last morning I'd see it. But here's the thing. If I was to go by the last waning sliver, not only am I not going to line up with the red blood moon, the moon's not going to be in the places of the barley. It's not going to be in the places of the goat. But if we go by what we just saw in September, and I love September because September had that red blood moon. The way you guys watched me walk it out, you can trust that if we go by when it tells us it's already now into the next month at 5 a.m. and go by that reckoning, it'll work out for us every month. And we just have to trust it. We just have to trust that what it's showing us, it's going to work. So, okay, so this is the 14th.
Yeah.
Did that answer everything for you, Greg?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. The 15th, the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. And so on the 19th of the month, it's 29.22 days old. The 20th, it tells us that it is 0.43 days old at 5, which you can see that evening we're declaring Rosh Chodesh. And that means that the 21st here is day 1. And there we begin. And that takes us through December. Now, by the time December comes around, we'll have a new one printed. You guys will be able to go over everything with me. In November, we'll have a gathering to determine next year's calendar. Anyone have any questions? Okay, go ahead, Pamela.
Just double checking, based on what we just went through, it sounds like even though this month started one day earlier, that the rest of the feast dates, Yom Teruah, will be on the day that's on the calendar.
Everything else is lining up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask too. It's just a 1 month boo-boo.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to walk it out with you today, knowing that I had made a boo-boo. And I wanted you to see that the rest of the day, the rest of the months are right on and spot on. And so we can trust the rest of the calendar. And the next month, in November, when we together as a group calculate and figure out the calendar for next year, you guys can be confident knowing, because you'll be able to see it. We'll walk it out. You'll be able to see, okay, yeah, it's on the money. So
We're not paying you enough, Mark.
say again?
I said, we're not paying you enough. We need to double your salary.
No. It's I am so glad I've got other eyes and others to see this with me because, it's very weighty. It's a weighty thing. We're dealing with a very, very important thing, and we want to get it right.
And we appreciate you taking the time to do it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, go ahead, Summer.
I was hoping you could reiterate this for us again because I need a refresher on how to use the conjunction for the day and the hour that no man knows. So Pam and I were talking about this again the other day because it makes sense when you're sighting the moon for Yom Teruah, but when you're not, I know we've covered this before, but I don't remember which video, and I'd be in here for hours watching them. So when we're using the conjunction, are we going to be earlier than everybody else? How do you use that for the hour part? Or
So just as you're looking at things in the west for the waxing sliver, and nobody knows for sure when that waxing sliver will appear, the same applies to the waning sliver and the dark moon. I don't know for sure. I mean, there's programs that for August the 22nd that morning that would have made it appear as though we could have seen it. Or wouldn't have seen it. But
it
if we
actually
would've-
makes more sense, right? Because he's not going to come in the middle of the night, I wouldn't think. It says that we'll see him coming down from the heavens. So if the sighting was in the evening, that means he would be coming in the dark.
Isn't he
Well-
coming from the east? And that's when we'll be looking. Because
In
aren't we
the
supposed to be
right in the morning as
Yeah.
we're gaining light to see
Yeah.
him coming, right?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it says that is that he'll be coming from the east. So if he's coming from the east, that's when we will be looking east. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and the other thing is, so I'm looking in the mornings, and I don't know for sure which morning is going to be the finest sliver. Without calculations, without the computer stuff, I'm just looking every day. I don't know, and I for sure don't know which morning is going to be the morning I don't see it. So I don't know the day or the hour, but that's why I'm still vigilantly looking each day. Because as Cyrus was saying, Cyrus, didn't you tell me that on that morning of the 22nd, it appeared as though, based on that one satellite and other things, that for sure you wouldn't see it on the morning of the 22nd.
That's correct.
Okay.
It was showing, no. It was the morning of the 23rd.
Okay, the morning of
At
the
1
23rd.
a.m. At 1 a.m., going by the satellite and going by the other data, it was not going to be seen, period.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I had reservations, and it's like, what do I do? I looking at the evidence, the conjunction is taking place. So when is the start of the day? Because it started in the dark, So that's why I wanted to get you here so we could look at that. And now that you've shown us the progression, it's easier to figure out.
Can everybody see this?
Mm-hmm.
This is August, and it's telling me, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
4.5,
Mm-hmm.
4.5 on the 21st, but it's telling me 0 on the 22nd. Now, if that's the case, if I'm going by this, which I did back in the past only by this, and this is where I had made an error, if I was going by this calculation telling me that it's going to be 0 illuminated on the morning of the 22nd, right? And yet, if I go by that, the morning of the 22nd, all right? So let's just take a quick little look here. I'm just going to examine the morning of the 22nd. We're going to just take a look here. August the 21st. Okay, so this is the 21st. Back it up here where I can see the moon. Okay. Here's the 21st.
That's how you did it, and when your program updated, it had that additional feature.
Yeah, Polly, my wife is reminding me that, and I did mention that to him. This is the updated version had this feature. So now I'm on the 21st and now the 22nd. So this
Okay.
morning of the 22nd that calendar on Paul Carlisle is saying it's 0 illuminated. But if I go by that and I count the next day as day 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm 1 day before the red blood moon. The red blood
Right.
moon happens the next day in the stream of the water. So you can see by going by that 0% illumination, it's going to have me off from the real full moon, the red blood moon. So I've got to go based on when I'm being told here, it's for sure now 0.26 on the 23rd. That's the day. And so that's the way I want to go ahead, Summer.
Yeah, does that Paul Carlisle one give you the time?
So
Because I think that's where I must have gotten confused when I asked you if it could be 2 days in a row, because in the Stellarium,
Well-
it says that it was at 1% at 5:52 a.m. It didn't reach 0 until 9:16, which the sun would have been up. And it remained at 0 until 6:54 a.m. on the 23rd. So
Well,
I
this
wonder
one-
if that does it tell you the time that was at 0% that day?
well, it's saying Friday, August the 22nd, 23:06 to Saturday, August 23rd at 6:06 UTC. But you can see here it's telling me 0% on the 23rd. So it's telling me 0% 2
Well, because
days.
I got 0% on both days also, but it depended on what time.
Yes.
So I was just wondering if he had them time stamped. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
just
Mark-
saying, go ahead.
Just looking at the chart that you have up on the screen right now, if you look at the 24th of August, it looks, according to that symbol, like it's also 0 illumination.
The 24th, it says 1.2, which
Right, okay.
is that Sunday night. And like Cyrus said, people did see it. And I saw a wow, it's coming down rain now. I saw a testimony that several people had seen it Sunday evening, which at 1.2%, they should have.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, trying to be as accurate as I can. I think we can all see that based on what we walked through in August and September, by doing it the way 5 a.m. and seeing whether it was in the old month or the new month, we end up at a red blood moon and it's completely accurate. And so everything, including being in the goat, and like it was in past Passover, being in the barley on Passover, everything works out right by doing it that way. And it's in the 2009, I don't even remember how many years it's been. So in the 15 years I've been doing this, this is the closest, best way of getting it as accurate as I can find. And I'm always looking for easier, better ways, but this is one. And I would say that us coming together as a group each year for putting together a calendar, I think we're going to be really, really accurate. So I'm excited about having other witnesses, other help, and say, yep, that's right, you're right, yep, that's it. And so we can check the boxes with confidence. Yeah.
Hey, real
Right.
quick before there's a question in the chat that's
Oh,
I just wanted you to see
go
it.
ahead.
Bree is asking if the time zone differences make any difference.
Well, I do like, of course, Cyrus was real big on this, and I was very big on it too. And I think what hit Cyrus is what hit me back in 2000. I was so elated about this calendar that you could put me in a dungeon where I couldn't even see the world and put me there for 5 years and bring me out, and I would know exactly where I'm at on God's calendar by looking up. And so that was so thrilling to me that I have something up there that man can't manipulate, man can't alter, man can't goof with, and it's going to be trustworthy and I can count on it. And so that was a huge piece for me. And but so to answer your question, I don't think so. I've never really punched it in for Tennessee at 5 a.m. and Mesa at 5 a.m. in Arizona. I've never really done that. So I guess I don't know for sure how it's going to affect the East Coast versus the West Coast. Yes, Greg.
Yeah, I can answer that. So, like I say, the moon's ever moving, and we live at different points on the planet. The time zones generally compensate, but your exact illumination and your exact, like you say, when you look on the software, it says 2%. Where you live might be 1.5. That type of thing. So, my question to you, though, Mark, was this. My hope and my dream, if I'm still alive, is that all Israel and the Gentiles will be together, and at least on the timing. Is there any, because I asked this of certain authors, they refuse to get together. They refuse to drop their calendars, which differ again according to how they start the month.
Yeah.
Have you tried to, and is there any outreach efforts going on to say, hey, I found something that's interesting. Would you be at least willing to discuss this?
You know what's interesting is up until this year, I never have. I was content in what we were putting together with, and I will say that you guys have encouraged me in many, many ways that had me looking at things I never even looked at. Sonia has given me thoughts and ideas too that have motivated me to look at things. But Julia, you're muted.
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, in order, if we don't have the calendar, the physical calendar to look at, so we need to be watching the constellation in order to determine where we are for the feast.
Sun, moon, and the constellations. That's the stars. So those are the three we have to be watching, and they will tell us. I mean, they're going to be faithful. And someone said, well, what if you can't? What if you have the sky blocked out with cloud cover for several days? And so I said, well, fortunately, in the land of Israel, being on they've got people that live on the coast. That moon affects the tides, and so they had another witness in how that tide was coming up, even if they couldn't see the moon. So God had them covered in another way.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Pamela.
I think this is an answer to an earlier question. I forget who posed it. Where I live in Middle Tennessee, a lot of times, especially in the winter, when it's dark for so many hours, I will see the moon move from the northeastern sky in the evening. And if I'm up early, which is quite often, and I'll see in the southwest, there have been times I can visibly see a difference in the size of the moon.
Mm.
So just in one night, moving across my view, it might not be much, but we don't have a lot of ambient light down here, so it can be very, very visible. So that's why I keep suggesting everybody look every night, get used to it so you know what is normal for you and what's not.
I will tell you that every Sukkot on the 14th, as we're beginning Sukkot, on the evening of the 14th, and I try to point it out to everybody at Sukkot, I'll call everybody into a group just as the sun is about to set. And I'll say, look at the sun. They all look at the sun because we can see every direction so far. And I said, what do you see over here on the horizon? And everybody sees the moon. And I said, what is that telling you? And so, with an eyewitness, everybody's seeing the sun and the moon on the horizon. That next morning, when we all get up, I say, where's the sun and the moon? And they look at it, and they're both on the horizon that next morning. And so, it's a great testimony when here we can see so far, we can actually see the horizons with no obstructions. And it's a great testimony. It's really, really nice to be able to see that. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mark, I just wanted to say that, years ago, my wife, who was brought up in Great Britain, we went out to Phoenix and we were at the White Tank Mountains, and it's elevated above the valley there. And it was a full moon that evening. And she says, "What's that starting to come up on the horizon?" I said, "That's the moon coming up." And she had never seen a moonrise, a full moonrise before.
Wow.
And like I say, I'm like with you. I've been watching it long enough now. I kind of know where the moon's going to be as we progress through the month. And then what Pamela said is when it gets winter, now you get to see the moon longer, and you do get to see changes in the moon. Those of us that are using telescopes that don't have motion compensation get kind of aggravated, but it's
Yes.
you're spending all that time, and it's the moon's an ever-changing target. But what's really been impressed upon us, and I think what you brought out in your presentation, is the scientific and the mathematical odds of having the moon mark exactly against a constellation during a biblical Moedim. It that I mean, I'd bet everything I own for now and forever on, it's just when I watch the videos, I think it's video 4 that you covered a lot of this information that we're going over tonight.
And by the way, that video wouldn't have happened without this call. There, that's because of the questions that video went out, and so it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's video number 4 that it's that first hour that I was going through all the videos, and then when I got to 4, then it was like, oh, Dodo, this is what they were talking about. So thank you so much for your, and Baruch Hashem for your work. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were mentioning about the constellation, so the Father's creating, he's creating this heavenly stuff, and people should ask themselves, why did he make a constellation that's a goat, and why did he make a constellation that had barley? Why were those put there? And what are the coincidences that the moon is in those locations, that he created that constellation with those symbols, that the moon is there on those feast dates, that it's all about that. And so it's just, it's just a tremendous witness. And yeah, I'm hoping, this is why I wanted to meet with Joseph Good, because Joseph Good has a direct ear with the Temple Institute in Israel. They speak to him a lot because he's got his knowledge on the temple is extraordinary, and so I'm hoping to get a time with him so that I can share with him about it. And hopefully it'll be as impressive to him as it is to us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate everybody's time.
We appreciate you. Thanks for coming back.
I did want to mention next year, I was looking at next year for, let's see here, I think it was 26 in September and October. Yeah. So and this is kind of very interesting, but I'll just share this with you real quick. I mean, this is just for you to for your knowledge. You know, I talked about how it says that maybe we'll see the Apophis next year in 26, and who knows where, you know, where it's going to be. I mean, I could probably tell that here by the program, but this is September 23rd, and I think that I know what I was going to say to you before I jump into this. With September the 26th coming up, I encourage all of you guys to make sure that you be looking on the 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th on your programs and take a note and look and see how many hours of daylight and how many hours of darkness there are during those days. Just be noticing. If your programs will tell you, you know, how many hours of daylight there are this day, how many hours of darkness there are, and notice which day is the 12 and 12. Notice when it's the 12 and 12. When it's in other words, you're going to get as close to 6 and 6, sunrise at 6, sunset at 6. Just notice what day that is. Because the world is going to tell you it's the 22nd or 23rd of September. But what you see with your eyes is going to tell you it's the 26th, 25th, 26th. And just notice that. It's a very interesting phenomenon. Go ahead, Cyrus.
This is sort of off topic, but it's not too far off topic. Going back to one of our first conversations about in fact, it was the conversation of the equinox of the equinoxes, if you'll remember that. Okay. 2100 and 38-year cycle or whatever it is.
Right.
Okay. The children of Israel, according to my calculations, came out of Egypt in 1446 BC. Okay. That would have been around the end of Taurus and at the beginning of Aries. Okay. The children of Israel wanted a bull. Jehovah told them no, destroyed it. Moshe destroyed it, made them drink the bitter water, and then we're making preparations for the coming of the Lamb. Okay. Aries becomes the dominant thing in the sky for the children of Israel. Then the Messiah comes, and all of a sudden, we're now in Pisces, which we see really embodies what has come to be a sign of the Messiah after his coming is Pisces. And next, we're looking for going into the water bearer. Okay. For the last few months, and this is one of the reasons I've been so keen on what's coming up here in the next few weeks. I've been told to watch for change. Okay, that change is coming, to watch for change. Change is coming, watch for change. And I don't know what change. And I don't know how to mark the change. So do you know of a way of saying, okay, we are coming into, Aquarius. Because remember that rivers of water will flow out of Yeshua. Okay, living water. This is not idle talk. There's too many coincidences here. You know what I think about coincidence? So there's too many coincidences here. Taurus, they came out of Egypt. Aries dominated until the Lamb came, and then it became Aries, and the Lamb is coming back, and he's going to be bringing rivers of living water. How do we look for that?
So are you asking, when are we transitioning into Aquarius?
I want to know.
I mean, how obviously we're getting close. Okay, obviously, if you go back, there we go, and you go back and you look at it and you think about it, it's been 2,000 years since Yeshua walked the earth. But where was the transition between Aries and Pisces? I don't know. Is there a transition that is marked? And
So
you
I'll share with you what I've discovered, and I haven't had a
Okay.
chance to dive into it, and I'm hoping that you guys will dig with me, because this is uncharted. I'm only going to tell you what I have heard. I haven't had a chance to verify it. I haven't even looked on my program to see if it's true. But it makes sense to me, because they if you know about Egypt, they knew when the certain seasons would begin, because they were basing it on the rising of Sirius, right? The star of Sirius.
Correct.
Yeah. So I've heard I've been hunting for this, that they knew when it transitioned into another era, another 2,000 years, or went from one constellation to the other, when the first star in that constellation was visible. I have to go back and check on the rising, when it rose on a certain day of the year. I just can't remember now what it was, but it was when the first star in that constellation was visible in the morning. Here we go in the morning. It's not the evening. Visible in the morning on a certain date. Kind of like we're looking for when the equinox happens. Now we know the year is transition. So there was a day of the year, maybe it was the equinox, I don't know. But on a day of the year, when that first star of that constellation was visible in the morning at, say, 5 a.m. So I've got to do some hunting. Maybe you guys can be Googling and searching for, is this correct? Is this how you know? Something that we can talk about in November
is
is,
that something visible in Dendera? I don't know.
yeah, I would bet it's there. I bet it's there. In November, we can talk about what if there's a change in the late 20s and early 30s, and where the moon ends up being on the feast dates. Would that be a signification or a sign that it's been this way for hundreds and hundreds of years, and all of a sudden it changes? Would that tell us something?
I don't know. What about, when the moon changed its tilt? What was it, last year or a year before last, when it actually tilted and the face was sideways rather than up? Most people didn't even notice that. And it's like, hey, folks, look up there. It's not the same moon it used to be. Why did this happen? Oh, you're imagining things. No, we saw it.
Yeah.
So how often do these changes take place in between, and what do they signify? So yes, the moon changes, but when it changes, what are we supposed to look for?
Yep.
But for the last 3, almost 4 months, I've just been hearing, watch for change. Change is coming. Watch for change. And I'm thinking September is a month of change. So is there a change coming in September?
It look this fall and for sure next fall look very interesting in the heaven stuff. And I'm just going to show you what I saw. Before I do, Greg, did you have something you wanted to say?
I just have a question.
Okay.
I've been manipulating the software. I've got labels for my planets, but yours, when you had the option, you were actually showing the planets. What part of the menu did you find?
I'll show you that. Okay,
All
so
right.
if you go up here to this double line next to the search menu,
Yeah.
you click on it and click the planets,
That's the menu I was looking for. Okay.
and then you can use the slider. There's a little slider over here. If you look moon here, you can adjust the size of the moon based on. So I can make the moon. See this little slider here? So I can
Here,
make the moon.
here, let me move. Okay, there we go. Yep.
And then you click this button next to the 3 lines, and you can remove the.
Okay, I got you.
You can remove the menu.
Thank you.
Yes. This is next year. And this is, according to what my early view tells me, that the 20 Sukkot's going to come early because there's going to be a conjunction on the 19th of March, just shortly 2 days after the equinox. So Sukkot's going to come early. So the 26th of September, which is what I have up here in the date, is going to be the first day of Sukkot, right? Do you see where Jupiter and Mars is? So this is the 26th, 27th. So that's the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So on the 8th day of Sukkot, do you see where Mars is? In the sheep pen, the sheepfold?
That's war.
And here you have Jupiter is almost at the king planet or the king star. You've got the moon smack dab here. I actually made the moon too big, but you got the moon here in the twins. You got.
I don't think we're seeing the sheepfold. I'm seeing a crab.
That's the crab.
That's the sheep pen. So this area right here.
See how the crab does this?
See this circle here?
Yeah.
That's the sheep pen.
That's super cool. That's super
This
cool.
is the sheep pen. As a matter of
Got
fact,
it. I didn't realize.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
yeah, there's a star here, and there's a group of stars here in the crab. And when you look at E.W. Bullinger on his commentary on the crab, he tells you that these two here are telling you these two. Did it come up there? I don't see it, but
No.
somewhere here.
There.
Was that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so here it is. So there's one right here, and there's one right here at the, yeah.
Yep.
Those 2 stars right here at the tip of the eyeball, he calls it this is the sheep pen, and the arms of the crab is forming this sheep pen. This is where the Apophis is at, viewing from the Earth the day it makes its closest flyby on the Earth on April 13th, 2029. It looks like it's coming at us from the sheep pen. So anyway, Mars is in the sheep pen. Jupiter is nearly in the king star. and you've got Saturn is still in the Jews are still in the land of Israel, right? And let's see here. And you've got Venus is doing a triple conjunction here. And I'll have to look and see which direction it's going. Let's just take a look. Venus is doing it. We're going to back it up. We'll follow Venus. Okay, let's do that. Let's follow Venus's path. This is during Sukkot. Come on. Okay, so Venus is coming across, straight across the barley on September the 3rd. On October the 1st, it makes it stop. And then now it's going to make its move backwards. And here it is. So here's Venus right here. And now it's going to come back into the barley on November the 2nd. So that's very, very interesting. At the same time that Mercury is doing a conjunction, retrograde. So they're both doing this retrograde. So this is all happening during fall of next year. And so Mercury's doing its retrograde reverse motion in the scales of judgment. So it's a very interesting time. And you see Jupiter's now coming into the King star. So I don't know, for me, this fall and next fall are very, very interesting. And when we'll see Apophis, I don't know. It's going to be maybe an interesting light show. And there's a chance we may see that comet, the interstellar comet as well, this fall. So we'll see.
Mark, you're using The Witness of the Stars by Bullinger for a lot of your references. Is there any other books as far as the meaning of the constellations that you used?
Just his.
Yeah, his is, well, it's
I
pretty,
really
pretty solid. Yeah.
His is very solid. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. If there's no questions, I'm ready to close. Back to you, Pamela.
Thank you, Mark.
For Cyrus.
Can we all give Mark a big hand?
No.
Yes, we can.
I'm glad we're a group that comes together and our hunting God is showing us some amazing things together.
Teamwork. That's what it's all about. And that's what Sakota's about.
Amen.
We always gush about how blessed we are to have Cyrus, and we're blessed to have you too. You guys both teach us a lot.
And you know what I could use? I could use some tips and hints on what colors and what graphics would you like on next year's calendar?
Okay.
What themes would you like on next year's calendar? We did a theme this calendar on the fruit of the land. We did a whole different one last year, but yeah, theme and colors and graphics and scriptures are very helpful. So any thoughts and ideas? We'd love for you very creative artists to get involved if you want.
Sounds good.
I'm not a creative artist, but I really liked the previous ones which had these constellations because, you know, all of us are learning and it's just really helpful to have that reinforced, you know, just like reading scripture over and over again, how it reinforces the word, right? So having the constellations and what they're about, that sort of thing would be great, just so that it can reinforce it for us.
Perfect.
Yes, I agree.
Great idea.
Okay.
And I know how much Sonia loved the fruit in this calendar because she's a huge advocate of the fruit.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I was going to see if there's no more commentary. if Cyrus would close us with the blessing. So, oh, just in time. Look at that, stage right. Thank you again, Mark, and everybody for being here.
Yes, yes,
Yes, thank you, Mark.
yes.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mark.
it's very exciting. It really is. And
This is my first meeting for something like this, and it's very, very interesting.
Thank
I
you.
need to learn it.
All glory to God, because he's the one that showed me. I had no idea.
and Jehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to Aaron and his son, saying, This is how you bless the children of Israel. Say to them, Jehovah bless you and guard you. Jehovah make his name shine upon you and show favor to you. Jehovah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Thus they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I myself shall bless them." Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank
Always
you,
enjoy being with you guys. Miss you a lot.
We love you having you with us. You're always a member and
Yeah.
welcome to be with us at any time. And looking forward to possibly sneaking out to Arizona.
Okay. Love to have anyone that wants to come.
Thank you.
Good night,
Shalom,
everybody.
Shalom, shalom. Thanks, Brother Mark.
Yeah.
Shalom,
Bye.
shalom.
Close the
Hey, honey,
program.
we'll chat when everybody else is gone.
I'm staying on to talk to Pamela, so.